Before we dive in today, I just want to talk about the constant sound of leaf blowers. I swear to you, whenever I decide it is time to record a podcast episode, either my lawn folks show up with the leaf blower or a neighbor is using a leaf blower. A few years ago, I listened to a hilarious podcast episode on leaf blowers and how you can almost hear them at any time of year at all times. And since listening to that episode, I cannot unhear all of the leaf blowers. But since it's October, the leaf blowing is out of control. So that was my experience when I wanted to start recording about 30 minutes ago. So fingers crossed that I can get through this episode without any more leaf blowers getting turned on right outside my window. And I also want to remind you that you can still fill out my podcast survey and receive a free 15-minute sleep coaching call with me. We are planning out episodes for 2026, which is so hard to believe. And I would love to know what content and topics you enjoy most. Your feedback is going to guide our next year. You can find the survey at sleepandwellnesscoach.com/survey, and I will also link to it in the show notes. Okay, on to today's episode. Every October, parents start asking me the same questions, and it's all about the fall time change. Will my child start waking up at 5 a.m.? Should I gradually shift bedtime ahead of the clocks falling back? Is there a way to make this easier? Today, I'm going to walk you through exactly how to handle the fall time change so that you don't get stuck with those dreaded 5 a.m. wake-ups. And I'll share my favorite sleep tips for babies, toddlers, and kids adjusting to the end of daylight savings time. I'll also share a quick update on where things stand with the Sunshine Protection Act, the legislation that got a lot of buzz a few years ago about possibly ending these time changes for good. Spoiler alert, don't count on this being the last time you have to navigate a time change. Hi, I'm Allison Egidi, a pediatric sleep and wellness coach and a mom of two. I love to help parents find solutions. This is How Long Till Bedtime. Hey everyone, it's Allison, and welcome back to How Long Till Bedtime. It's that time of year again. The fall time change is almost here. On Sunday, November 2nd, 2025, most of us here in the United States will set our clocks back 1 hour at 2 a.m. as daylight savings comes to an end. If you're a parent, you know that while the rest of the folks around the country celebrate an extra hour of sleep, kids don't usually get that memo. But don't worry, I've got you covered. Today, I'm going to share my time change sleep tips for kids, toddlers, and babies. Before I share my step-by-step approach for easily navigating the time change, let me share an update on where we stand on daylight saving legislation. The Sunshine Protection Act passed the Senate in 2022, proposing permanent daylight saving time, but it stalled in the House. A new version was introduced in 2025, but no real movement has happened. Meanwhile, the American Academy of Sleep Medicine actually recommends that we stick with permanent standard time since it aligns better with our body's natural circadian rhythm. But for now, those of us who live in states that observe daylight savings times should plan to continue to spring forward and then fall back. Now, let's talk about why the clocks falling back can be rough when you have kids. When the clocks roll back, a child who usually wakes at 6:30 a.m. is now going to naturally wake up at 5:30 a.m., which, let's be honest, is brutal. That's why parents are so much more anxious about the fall time change than they are about the spring time change. And if you've got a baby or toddler, this can hit especially hard. Baby sleep is closely tied to their internal rhythms, and toddler sleep schedules can be very sensitive to change, which means it could trigger a regression. So, what should you do? My recommendation is actually that you should not pre-adjust. You'll see lots of advice online about shifting schedules gradually in the days before the clocks roll back. I don't recommend that. Why? Because it could throw off your child's circadian rhythm. Meals, school drop off, light exposure, those aren't really shifting. The rhythm of their day is not changing the week before the time change. So when you shift their sleep schedule, you can throw off their sleep rhythm and you can end up with an overtired, cranky child who's already set up to struggle more with the time change. Sensitive kids especially can end up with messy naps and nights or early wakings, which can lead to sleep debt. And that's all before the clocks have even changed. So, what should you do instead? I don't want you to change anything in advance. And then on Saturday night, November 1st, you'll put your child to bed at their normal bedtime. Don't even change your clocks yet. On Sunday, they and you will wake at the usual times. Yes, technically, this will be an hour earlier based on the new clock. But if everyone went to bed on time, everyone should have gotten a full night of sleep and they should be rested. After you are all up, you can go around and change any clocks that need to be changed. And then Sunday, during the day for naps, I want you to shift naps 30 minutes earlier than usual. For example, if your baby's first nap would typically start at 9:30 in the morning, this day on Sunday, under the new time, you will put them down at 9 a.m. for that first nap. And same thing, if there is a second or a third nap, you shift every nap by 30 minutes. Now, let's talk about Sunday bedtime. Also 30 minutes earlier. So if your child typically goes to bed at 7 p.m., you'll put them to bed at 6:30 p.m. And that brings us to Monday. No matter what happens Sunday night or Monday morning, even if your child did end up waking early, go back to your regular nap and bedtime schedule. Because guess what else happens on Monday? Our typical Monday morning daytime rhythm kicks in. And that really helps the circadian rhythm shift as well. If naps are shorter than they normally would be, or your child just simply acts more tired than usual in the evening, use an early rescue bedtime, 30 to 45 minutes earlier than normal, to help them stay rested while they adjust. I know it's counterintuitive, but this early rescue bedtime can actually help prevent early morning wake-ups. These strategies work whether you're managing baby sleep schedules, toddler bedtime battles, or big kid routines where there's no naps involved at all. A few extra quick tips that I'll note before I wrap up. Newborns. Don't stress. Just shift bedtime in 2 small steps. 30 minutes on Sunday night, and then the additional 30 minutes on Monday. And then if you're using wake windows, you'll keep following those wake windows. We're just focused on shifting that bedtime. And the big kids who don't nap, same approach. Normal Saturday bedtime, That small tweak on Sunday, if needed, sometimes the big kids don't even need that tweak, and then back to normal on Monday because we're back on our school schedules, and that is the big driver for helping their rhythm adjust. So stick to your routines. Bedtime routines help cue the body to prepare for sleep. And remember, if you stick to your typical schedule and routines, come Monday going forward and use a rescue bedtime when needed, most babies and kids are going to be fully adjusted within 3 to 7 days. So there you have it. No complicated prep, no dragging things out for a week or more, just a simple 24 to 48 hour reset that works whether you're navigating your baby's sleep or your toddler's bedtime and nap or your big kid's sleep. If you want an easy way to map out your Sunday plan, I have created a free fall time change cheat sheet where you can plug in your baby's current nap schedule and see exactly how you should be adjusting it on Sunday. You can grab it at sleepandwellnesscoach.com/episode-210. And we'll also share a link in the show notes that will tell you how to grab that cheat sheet. And please share this episode with a friend who is also dreading the time change. The more parents who know how to approach the time change in a simple way, the less that we all need to fear that 5 a.m. wake up. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you back here next week. Bye for now. Thank you for listening to How Long Till Bedtime. To learn how we can work together to improve your child's sleep, please visit sleepandwellnesscoach.com.